I've always been fascinated by ships. Just think about it for a second. These massive structures, often made of metal, glide effortlessly across the surface of the ocean. It's almost magical, right? But have you ever stopped to wonder why they don't sink? Metal is heavy. If I were to drop a metal object into water, it would sink like a stone. So why is it that ships, constructed from tons of metal, float? To get started, please take just 1 second to like this video. Your support encourages me to continue creating this content. Let's break it down. The answer lies in a principle called buoyancy, which was famously explained by Archimedes centuries ago. It's one of those concepts that sounds complicated but is actually pretty straightforward once you get into it. Essentially, buoyancy is the upward force that water exerts on an object that's submerged in it. When a ship is placed in water, it pushes down on the water, creating a displacement. If the weight of the water that's displaced is greater than the weight of the ship itself, the ship floats. Now you might be thinking, okay, but how can a huge metal ship weigh less than the water it displaces? That's where the design of the ship comes into play. Ships are built with a hull that's shaped in a way to maximize the amount of water they displace while keeping the overall weight manageable. The hull is often quite wide and has a large volume, which means it can push aside a lot of water. The larger the hull, the more water it displaces and the greater the buoyant force acting on it. Imagine a big, heavy balloon. When you blow air into it, the balloon expands. It's the same idea. The air inside the balloon is lighter than the water around it, allowing it to float. Ships, despite being made of metal, often have large hollow spaces within them filled with air. This design keeps the overall density of the ship lower than that of water, allowing it to float. It's all about density, folks. Now, let's dive a little deeper into why this matters. Think about all the different types of ships out there. Cargo ships, cruise liners, naval vessels. They all have different designs, but they follow the same principle. Even though they're made of heavy materials, their shape and the way they're built allow them to stay afloat. Engineers spend countless hours calculating the right dimensions, weight distribution, and materials to ensure that these ships can carry heavy loads without sinking. And here's a fun fact. The Titanic, one of the most famous ships in history, was a marvel of engineering at the time. It was built with a hull that was designed to displace a massive amount of water. But we all know how that story ended, right? The Titanic sank after hitting an iceberg, and that tragedy serves as a reminder that even the best engineering can't account for every possible hazard. But let's not get too gloomy. The fact that ships can float despite being made of metal is a testament to human ingenuity and our understanding of physics. It's a blend of science and art, really. The next time you're at the beach or on a boat, take a moment to appreciate the engineering that went into creating those vessels. And it's not just about ships. Think about other metal objects that float. Have you ever seen a metal fishing boat bobbing on the water? Or a metal raft? They all rely on the same principles of buoyancy. It's a universal concept that applies to everything from the smallest dinghy to the largest aircraft carrier. Now let's bring this back to a more personal level. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by something heavy in your life? Maybe it's a job, a relationship, or just the weight of expectations. It's easy to feel like you're sinking under the pressure. But remember that just like those ships, you have the capacity to float. You can create your own buoyancy. Just as ships are designed to displace water, you can find ways to lift yourself up, whether it's through support from friends, finding a new perspective, or simply taking a break to recharge. So, the next time you see a ship sailing smoothly across the water, remember the incredible science behind it. It's not just metal. It's a blend of design, physics, and a little bit of magic. And if a massive ship can float, then maybe you can too, no matter how heavy the world feels. Embrace your buoyancy and keep sailing forward. Thank you for exploring with us here at the Corner of Curiosity. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more fascinating content. As always, feel free to leave your curious questions and thoughts in the comments below. Until next time.